Are you a small business owner on the brink of burnout? Well, stick around because today we're going to talk about not only how you can extricate yourself from the daily operations of the business, but also how you can set up your business for a lucrative exit. If you're serious about transforming your business and your life, hit subscribe, share, and comment now so you don't miss any of our expert advice. Howdy, everyone. I'm Leslie Hassler with Your Biz Rules. We guide small business owners just like yourself to predictable profits to grow and scale without burnout. From the money and the people of the business to systems and technology, we help with everything there and in between so that you can feel like you've got business mastered. In short, we help you be better at business. So today we're talking about this idea of a 3-year exit in your business. And we're having lots of conversations of lots of different small business owners who have the desire to ultimately sell their business. So we want to talk about what are the steps that you can take to transform your business into that self-sustaining, profitable entity that you can confidently exit from in 3 years. So why does this matter? Well, because your business should serve you, not the other way around. And honestly, time is ticking. It's never too early to prepare for your financial freedom. And the reason why we like to concentrate on 3 years is this. 1 year, one good year in a business, well, that's a fluke. 2 years, well, maybe that's a pattern, right? But 3 years shows trend and strength and growth across those 3 years starts to show predictability. And so even if you're thinking that your business exit maybe 5 or 10 years down the road, I think you're cutting off your nose to spite your face. Because by preparing your business today to sell, maybe even next year, even if it's not the goal, even if you think it's 10 years down the road, you will reap so many more benefits for having done the work now. It only gets more challenging. It is only more work, if you will, the longer that you wait. So it's never, ever, ever, ever too early to start that. And one of the things that I think keeps people from really getting into the process of preparing their business to sell is that they're too engrossed in the daily operations. They're too knee deep in the weeds, if you will, to be able to plan for the overriding strategy of a business. That's one of the things we come in and get straight for our clients is really getting out of that reactionary mode and putting you into a strategic driver's seat. And the tips that we're going to share with you today are going to do that. And they're going to keep you from getting stuck in a loop or stuck in a rut that just feels like you're slowing business growth and you're shrinking profits. We don't like that hamster wheel any more than you do. Now, if you choose to put this off for a while, I will say that the burnout will continue. The sleepless nights, the waking up in the middle of the night, worried about some aspect of the business, that will become very normal. And ultimately, I don't want you to wait too late because if you do wait too late and you do go to exit from your business, chances are that you'll be selling your business for pennies on the dollar. We want to avoid that situation at all costs because you are investing so much into your business, into being successful, into being able to hire your team, and ultimately fund that exit dream. So we want to maybe avoid the wait and see methodology of strategic planning and really come into action so that we're doing smart, active things that build the health of the business today so that it's worth more tomorrow, but also that it's maximizing. It's giving you all the benefits today as well. And that's really exciting. So the key here is to break free by maximizing your profitability and your operational efficiencies. That's a lot of jargon. Basically, we want to make sure that you're making money and not just making a little money, like making the right amount of money for the service that you're providing, earning for the value that you provide to your clients. And operational efficiency, think of it this way, is really about doing more with what you have. We are not on the doing more with less bandwagon. That's sometimes a self defeating prophecy in itself. But if you think about it, you already have made such significant investments in your business. We want to make sure that you are getting the maximum return from that. So we're going to do more with what we have so that we're getting that boost in efficiency. We're getting a boost in productivity. And when you get more done, you make more money. Just straight out. It's a very, very easy little relationship to think about. So let's talk about some of our steps. So the first step that we have in your 3-year exit strategy is going to be about getting your financials in shape, getting your numbers right. Now, we come alongside every single one of our clients and do this work first. And there's a reason for it. One is we want to make sure that all the leaks are plugged. So if you could imagine your business as a leaky bucket, right? All those holes in the bucket are ways that your financials are not being put to good use. So before we turn it on, if you want to think about that and add in growth and scalability, we want to make sure that the bucket holds the water because otherwise that's one of those ways that really creates that feeling of spinning your wheels. So we want to first get the financials in shape. So we want to clean them up. We want them to be accurate. We want them to have good data. We want to know what the KPIs are in the business. By knowing KPIs, and KPIs are key performance indicators, they're your metrics. So if you have a Fitbit or an Apple Watch that sits there and tells you how many steps you take and how long you've spent standing, or if you tick and record that you've gotten your 8 glasses of water into for the day, that's a KPI. It's a key metric. It's just saying that these are the things that matter, that tell us if we're on the right course, and the things that we can use to get better results. So that's a part of getting those financials in shape is the KPIs. But we also want to make sure that you're using your financials to tell the story of the business. Every single one of our clients that have that goal to be selling in 3, 5, or 10 years down the road, not only do we want to make sure that we're doing frequent financial reporting and the financial data is good and that we've got our KPIs so we can show growth, so you can show change. But we also want to make sure that the financials are telling the story of the business. And that little habit that we give our clients is by writing down the story of the business. So for every financial report, there's just a one little page document, maybe even as small as one paragraph, that gives a verbal kind of explanation to the numbers, because sometimes the numbers don't necessarily tell the story that you want them to tell. We have one of our clients that's made significant investments into team and into their location, into other aspects, preparing for their next level of growth. Now, financially, this was totally planned for. It was totally strategic. We knew what we were doing and we had the money to do it. But if you look at the P&L for that year, it does not look happy. It doesn't look happy because those expenses, those investments show up on the P&L, but the money that we use to pay for it doesn't. Right? That's on a different financial statement, mainly your balance sheet. So we wrote a story that told about the business during this year and how actually, even though it looks like profitability is down, a lot of positive moves were made into the business. Now, if you're like me, you can barely remember what you had for dinner last night. So imagine trying to remember what happened 3 years from now in your past in your business. This is your little gift to be able to make sure that your financials are in ship shape, but they're also telling the story that needs to be told, that a potential buyer can fully understand what has happened and all the great grooviness that you've been able to achieve in your business. So if you want to have a profitable exit, you do need to make sure that you show profits and that you have good cash flow. Kind of the last aspect of getting those financial reports into ship shape If you don't ever show profit because you're always worried about paying taxes, then you are impacting your ability to cash flow the business. These are two things that could scare off a potential buyer and can diminish your value. Now, there's part of the business evaluation phase that adds back in key expenditures to help show that type of profit. But if you have a practice of actually achieving a profit, not just like on paper, but a demonstrative profit that shows up in your bank account, it's more attractive to an investor who is looking ultimately not for a job, but for a return on their investment. So that's why your financials and getting your financials into shape is so utterly critical. The second thing is about the people. Now, remember, I said from the money to the people. The people are so important to this story, and really building a fabulous team that you can, you by recruiting immensely responsible and engaged individuals who can take those day-to-day tasks off your plate. I hear you. Yes, there is some challenges to today's hiring market. Those challenges are not going anywhere. There's some interesting trends that will likely create a challenging employee market for a very long time. But that doesn't mean that you can't hire the absolute best people for your company. You just may need to do things a little differently. And maybe not even just a little, but different enough to get a different enough result. Because we work hand in hand with our clients to do things like their job descriptions and defining culture and putting together compensation packages and really looking at the entirety of an employee across the business and making sure that there are multiple levels of connection for them. There's an emotional connection, there's a contractual connection, there's an energy connection. Like they love coming to work for you. That those are the people that we need to have on the team. And when they are on your team, what you'll find is that these are the people that will come into your office, ask you what you're doing, take it away from you, and take it on, never to give it back to you, because they understand that you spending your time on this daily task is not important anymore. It's important to them. So that it becomes a vehicle, if you will, to get the weight of the world off your shoulders. And as you trust your team trusts you more, it really starts to bring together a nice, cohesive, holistic solution that not only gets you out of the day to day, but provides the strategic framework. Listen, if you are selling your business and you're selling it to somebody that is looking at it as an investment versus a job, and the reason why we make this designation is somebody coming in as a job probably doesn't want to pay as much as somebody who comes to your business as an investment. If you have the team in place, then they know that without you who has been so crucial, so critical to the business up to this point, that if you're not there, the business will still survive. This is such a key aspect that even in business valuations, it's this step where they measure how dependent is the business on the owner. And if your dependency, the business depends on you to such a high level, it diminishes your value. So think about people in as a way to increase the value of the company and increase your profit maximization and your ability to get a profitable exit. Last note here, the name of the game is also document, document, document. In that now that you have people, be sure that you have process documented. Now, I don't want you to go too complicated with this. It doesn't need to be complicated. In fact, if it's too complicated, it will just be a binder that sits on everybody's shelves. But if you can make it functional, if you can make it easy and make it to where doing the process and following the process is infinitely better than going rogue, this is where we want to be when we think about a profitable exit. So it's one thing to say you have a process. It's a completely different story to actually be able to show the process and show people using it. So that's where that systems and technology and process, they all come into play. And there's lots of different ways that we work with our clients to implement that in their business. But it is with this eye, right, that we're trying to demonstrate that the business can survive without the owner should it be sold. And because we can check those boxes, we're able to anticipate a more profitable exit for you. So, tip number 3 on your 3-year profitable exit is about implementing the 9 strategies of scale. Now, these are strategies that were an outcome of a Harvard Business Review research project. And they studied businesses that were able to come out of recessions more successfully. And across these businesses, they found these 9 strategies. Now, we've already talked about a couple of them here, but what I want you to understand is that by implementing strategies that could protect your business from an economic downturn can actually also have the positive effect of increasing your profitable exit and increasing the probability of that happening. So, when you're thinking about the way that you're growing your business, this is a very strategic approach. It's not just worried about today's problems today, but thinking about the strength of the business over time. And the one phrase I love here that Harvard Business Review was able to put together was the people that do this the best have a very diversified offensive with a restrained defensive strategy in their business. So I'll leave that with you. If you think about it, it means that we're highly protected. We're taking action. We have protected ourselves, but we haven't cut off our nose to spite our face when it comes to the protection, because growth at the end of the day is not safe. We want to mitigate those risks as much as possible. We want to make sure that we're balanced in our approach so all of our eggs are not in one basket. But at the end of the day, if you're going to grow, it means you need to be able to take risks. And there's a certain low probability of safety with that. But these 9 strategies, this is what makes it possible. And this is what gives your business a greater amount of success. So, our 4th tip is about maximizing profitability across the business. Now, sure, we've gotten our financials in shape, but did you know that there are actually 6 different areas that you could evaluate your business against and find other ways to increase your profitability? Do not let a low industry standard set your profitability game. We don't necessarily want to manage our business by these standards. They're really good to have in mind. A standard, though, is an average. And that means there's people below and people above. We want you and every single one of our clients to basically be the ones that set industry standards by outperforming your industry and using that to help create profitability in your own business. So, this is an important concept to look at and factor into not just a one time evaluation, but an ongoing kind of annual evaluation to where you're looking at that your business in a very critical sense. Because as you go through growth and scalability, you'll find that some maneuvers kind of lower down profitability and other ones increase profitability. And if you're not watching it on a frequent basis, then you'll likely have a downward trend that you didn't intend to happen. So that's it. Those are your 4 tips on ways for you to get a 3-year profitable exit. So by taking the action now, by laying the foundations, if you will, for a profitable exit, you're not only going to experience freedom sooner, plus the experience you get when you exit, but because you're profitable, you're going to be able to pay yourself more, right? You're going to be able to reap the benefits now. So, in essence, you start getting return on your own investment before the sale even happens. And when you're ready for that sale, when you're ready to step out of your business in other ways, it will be there to provide you with all the freedom and financial benefit that you look to be able to provide. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you're doing well. This has been Leslie Hassel with Your Biz Rules. May your week be profitable.